When the Xiaomi Mi Mix first came onto the scene, it was a smartphone design triumph. This is the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3. Has it got what it takes to still turn heads? Or has the Mix series lost its charm? Well, it certainly hasn't lost its charm. Just look at it. It's beautiful. This is what we expect from a Mi Mix series phone anyway. This wonderfully minimalist, incredibly smooth piece of ceramic on the back. That means it's more scratch resistant than glass, and it also has this rather unique sheen to it. Ceramic looks very different to glass. It also feels it. It's warmer to the touch than glass. It gives that high quality feeling we expect from an expensive Xiaomi phone. It's when you turn it round that you get the first look at that trademark Mi Mix series full screen effect. So there's no notch at the top. So where's the camera for the front, you're asking? I mean, is it down here again like the original Mi Mix in an incredibly awkward position? No, it's hidden behind a slider at the top of the screen. You simply slide down the front panel and reveal the camera at the top here. That is the Mi Mix 3's big design feature, and very nice it is too. However, it's not unique. Unlike the original Mi Mix, which was unlike anything we'd seen before, we've seen this before. The Honor Magic 2 does it, the Oppo Find X, the Vivo Nex X, they all have pop-up cameras or sliders like this. So this is not unique, but it is implemented really, really nicely. However, like the original Mi Mix and like most other Xiaomi phones today, it's beautifully made. This is a super high quality smartphone. The slider mechanism itself, it's wonderful. It's not just the opening, it's actually the closing of this that makes the difference. Xiaomi's done this really clever thing. Opening it, fine. It's very comfortable, it's easy. But the closing, it just edges over a ridge inside to click home, and it's so satisfying. It's an incredibly well-made piece of equipment. You'll notice too that there's no in-display fingerprint sensor. The fingerprint sensor is mounted in the center of the rear panel here, which is incredibly convenient. It's fast, and that's a good thing, because while the Mi Mix 3 has got Face Unlock, you have to open that slider first to use it, and that can slow things down. It still works extremely well, but you've got that extra step to open up before you unlock the phone. It is quicker and easier to use the fingerprint sensor on the back. Here's a cool feature that does make us love the Mi Mix and its slider. You can customize the sound the phone makes when you pull down that screen. So to do that, you go into settings, you go under slider settings. You can also adjust it so that it performs different features. You don't have to open the camera app, you can open a different app if you want to, but the camera makes most sense. So we really like the Warrior, which makes it sound as if you're unsheathing a sword, ready for battle. Really think that's cool. You can have more mechanical sounds, or high-tech sounds, or the sound of popping a Zippo lighter. Lots of fun from Xiaomi for that screen. Let's talk more about the cameras on the Mi Mix 3. Behind that slider is a 24 megapixel camera with a 2 megapixel depth sensor, so it can take bokeh style portrait shots, and they're really effective on this. We really like the edge detection for the front camera. On the rear, it's a familiar dual lens camera. This is the same setup, a dual 12 megapixel camera that was used on the Mi 8 and the Mi 8 Pro. It's very good. We enjoy taking photos with it. The edge detection for some reason in bokeh mode isn't quite as good as the front, but still on sunny days it takes really great photos. We also really like the camera app. It's very simple to use and it's got some great editing tools as well. What else do we like? We like that there's a fingerprint sensor on the rear panel. It's fast, it's easy to use, and we don't have to switch to face unlock on the front, which means we have to open that slider every time we want to use it. A little bit slower, still works well, but the rear fingerprint sensor is considerably more convenient. It's got a Snapdragon 845 processor inside and 6GB of RAM, so it's plenty fast enough. Performance is really, really good. It uses Android 9 with Xiaomi's MIUI 10 over the top. And it's a pleasure to use. This is definitely one of the better Android user interfaces out there. It's fast, it's smooth, it's not too far removed from regular Android. You don't get an app tray, but everything else works incredibly well. It's nice and smooth, as we say, and it's definitely quick enough. So a pleasure to use. Thanks to that ceramic back, you get wireless charging. There's a 3200 milliamp hour cell inside the Mi Mix 3, and we found it lasts for a day with solid use. You're probably not going to get much more out of it if you're a heavy user. But the wireless charging is great because in the box with the Mi Mix 3, you get a wireless charger. And you can simply put it down and let it charge away wherever you are. Extremely handy and very nice of Xiaomi to actually include the wireless charger in the box. The list of positives continues. We love the 6.4-inch Super AMOLED screen. It's beautiful contrast, lovely colours. It's great for watching video or for looking at stills. There's plenty of detail, and as we've said, it looks wonderful. We like that there's a little button on the side that calls up Google Assistant. So it's nice and easy to activate Google Assistant, because that's a little bit different because there's gesture controls on here. That's slightly different for activating Google Assistant. There's no home button to press. So it's nice to have it on call with the side button. We also like the audio experience on here. There's no headphone jack, which is a bit of a shame, but you can use a dongle that's included in the box, and the audio is really excellent. Xiaomi's got its own app for tuning the sound as you listen. It sounds really, really great. We've talked about the specification of the camera already, but we really like the creative opportunities there are with the camera. There's an AI mode which serves for scene recognition and also for the beauty mode. There's a night mode for taking great pictures at night. The video mode has got a slow motion feature as well, and that goes down to 960 frames per second. So there's lots of creative opportunity, which we really like. What don't we like? Well, not much, actually. It's a little bit heavy, 218 grams. It's quite thick by comparison to some devices today. This is about 8.5 millimeters thick, but it's hardly a deal breaker. It's reasonably priced too. This is £500 in the UK, which is about $660. So it's very well priced for a high performance smartphone. Probably the biggest thing we don't like about it is, again, because it's a Xiaomi phone, you can't buy it officially in the US. This is a Xiaomi issue, not just with the Mi Mix 3. You can't buy any smartphones made by Xiaomi officially in the US. Perhaps the biggest problem with the Mi Mix isn't actually with the Mi Mix at all. It's this. It's the Xiaomi Mi 9. The Mi 9 has been announced after the Mi Mix. It's a little bit cheaper. It uses the brand new Snapdragon 855 processor. It's faster, it's got a better camera, and we see no reason to buy the Mi Mix 3 over the Mi 9. So that's probably a bit of a problem for Xiaomi, but not for you, because we're telling you to buy this, the Mi 9, rather than the Mi Mix 3. However, this may change again in the next few months, because the Mi Mix 3 has been selected by Xiaomi as its first 5G smartphone. So in a few months' time, you're going to be able to buy a 5G version of one of these and connect it to whatever 5G network happens to be available by that time. Yes, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you get 10 gigabytes of RAM and you get a new processor, of course. So this is a shape of things to come. We love the smartphone, but we're tempted by the superpower inside the Mi 9. That is going to change in the near future. So we'd probably say hold off buying the Mi Mix 3 until you can get a 5G Mi Mix 3, or just buy the Mi 9.